The room is quiet, not peaceful but controlled. Elizabeth of York lies still beneath heavy linens, her breathing shallow, her body failing after childbirth. The air is warm and unmoving, thick with the scent of blood, crushed herbs, and damp cloth. Around her, attendants move carefully, speaking in whispers, trained to keep their faces calm no matter what they see. Outside these walls, England is finally at peace. The wars are over. The banners have been lowered. The kingdom, exhausted by decades of bloodshed, can rest at last. A dynasty has been secured, a future promised. Inside the chamber, Elizabeth struggles for breath. There is no chaos here. No raised voices. Only measured footsteps and the quiet acceptance that this is how queens die, silently, without disruption. The physicians already know what is happening. So do the women watch her fade. No one says it aloud. Henry VII is not beside her in the way a husband might be. He is a king first, distant, composed, already thinking of the realm that now depends on what her body has given it. Elizabeth is surrounded, yet alone. Her marriage ended a war that armies could not. Her womb secured a throne swords failed to protect. The peace England now enjoys was forged not on a battlefield, but within her own body. And now that body is breaking. She does not die in triumph. She does not die in spectacle. She fades quietly as the country she unified moves forward without her. England was finally at peace. And Elizabeth of York was dying because of it. She ended a war that kings couldn't, but the price was her own life. Elizabeth of York was born into a world where silence kept you alive. England had spent decades tearing itself apart. The Wars of the Roses were not distant memories, they were fresh scars. Two royal houses, both claiming legitimacies, turned the country into a revolving door of kings, executions, betrayals, and sudden reversals of fortune. Power did not belong to laws or traditions. It belonged to men with armies. Crowns were won on battlefields, lost in corridors, and traded through bloodlines. A king today could be a prisoner tomorrow. A queen could be a liability by morning. In this world, women were never the ones holding the swords, but they were often the reason swords were drawn. They were claims. They were symbols. They were leverage. A woman's body could legitimize a reign or destroy it. A marriage could end a war or start another. A child could secure a throne or become a threat that needed to vanish. Elizabeth learned this early, not through lessons but through absence. Uncles disappeared. Brothers vanished. Allies became enemies overnight. One careless word, one visible ambition, one wrong alignment could mean execution or something quieter and more final. Many women did not die publicly. They were erased, removed from records, forgotten on purpose. Survival required restraint. Elizabeth did not raise her voice. She did not assert her claim. She did not draw attention to herself. Not because she was weak, but because she understood the rules of the world she lived in. This was a system built to reward force and punish visibility. And within that system, silence became strategy. In this world, speaking was dangerous. Being noticed was deadly. Elizabeth learned to endure. And in doing so, she learned how to survive. Elizabeth of York was born a princess, but not into safety. She entered a world already unstable, where loyalty shifted without warning and royal blood offered no protection. Her father was king, yes, but kings fell quickly in this England. And when he died suddenly, everything collapsed with him. Power did not pass smoothly. It fractured. Her mother fled with her children into sanctuary, stone walls meant to protect them, but also to hide them. Safety came at the cost of visibility. The message was clear, even to a child. Being seen was dangerous. Then her brothers vanished. The princes, heirs to the throne, were last seen inside the Tower of London. After that, nothing. No public explanation. No bodies. No truth strong enough to settle the fear. History still argues over what happened to them. But Elizabeth did not have the luxury of certainty. She did not know who was responsible. She did not know who could be trusted. She only knew that powerful boys could disappear and no one would be held accountable. That uncertainty was the lesson. Because in this world, truth did not save you. Innocence did not protect you. Even royal blood could be erased without consequence. What mattered was power, who held it, and who could act without being questioned. Elizabeth learned to become small. She learned to lower her gaze, to speak carefully, to exist without attracting attention. Not because she lacked intelligence or ambition, but because survival demanded restraint. A visible princess was a problem. A silent one could be ignored. She was raised not to challenge the system, but to endure it. Truth doesn't protect you. Power does. And Elizabeth understood that long before she ever became queen. Henry Tudor won a crown, but not a secure one. His victory on the battlefield ended a reign, not a conflict. His bloodline was thin, his claim fragile, his legitimacy constantly questioned. Without reinforcement, his kingship would always look temporary, a pause between wars rather than an ending. Elizabeth of York was the reinforcement. Her bloodline carried what his could not: continuity, acceptance, closure. She was the living bridge between two warring houses, York and Lancaster, and everyone in England knew it. Their marriage was not romantic. It was precise. Politically, it was flawless. A single union that folded decades of violence into something orderly, something final. White rose and red rose bound together, not by affection, but by necessity. Elizabeth did not marry a man. She married an ending. With that marriage, she gave England what armies had failed to deliver. Stability, a throne no longer contested at every turn. Legitimacy, a king whose rule could now be defended by blood, not just force. Closure, permission for the country to stop fighting. But peace always demands payment. And Elizabeth paid in pieces of herself. Her role was carefully managed. Her presence softened. Her voice muted. She was displayed when useful, withdrawn when not. The public face of harmony, and little else. She did not rule. She did not advise openly. She did not assert her claim. The very bloodline that made the marriage powerful made her dangerous if she appeared too visible. So, she was reduced, not violently, but thoroughly. Her identity narrowed. Her agency disappeared. Her silence became policy. England moved forward, convinced the war was over. Few noticed what had been erased to make that peace possible. Elizabeth of York was often described as a queen without power. She held no council seat, issued no proclamations, led no faction at court. But that interpretation misunderstands her entirely. Elizabeth was not powerless, she was deliberate. She understood something few around her did. England was exhausted. The throne she had helped legitimize could collapse the moment rivalries were given oxygen. And no one posed a greater risk to that fragile peace than the Queen herself. So she withdrew carefully. She avoided factions, refusing to align herself with noble families eager to leverage her bloodline. She avoided public statements, knowing every word would be dissected for political meaning. She avoided rivalry, especially with those who might benefit from her disappearance. Her silence was not submission. It was containment. By staying neutral, she denied others a banner to rally behind. By remaining calm, she prevented old wounds from reopening. By appearing unthreatening, she protected her children from becoming symbols in someone else's war. The court stabilized around her absence. Not because she was irrelevant, but because she was careful. Elizabeth moved like someone who understood how quickly attention turned fatal. She never reminded anyone that her claim was stronger than her husband's. She never allowed herself to become a living alternative to the king. She ruled without ruling. She preserved peace by making herself politically invisible, absorbing the risks so others didn't have to. She ruled by never reminding anyone she could. For Elizabeth of York, motherhood was never private. Each pregnancy was a political act. Each child was a living guarantee of the Tudor dynasty, proof that the fragile union of York and Lancaster could survive. Success brought legitimacy. Failure brought danger. Grief was a luxury she could not afford. Miscarriage or stillbirth was mourned quietly, behind closed doors, often alone. The court expected no display of sorrow. Any sign of weakness could be leveraged, turned against her or her children, used to challenge the dynasty she had helped stabilize. When Henry Tudor, her first son, survived, the world changed, but not entirely for the better. Henry's birth secured the future of the throne, but it also intensified the pressure on Elizabeth. Every subsequent pregnancy, every newborn, became another test of endurance. She could not falter, could not reveal fatigue or fear, could not allow herself a moment of vulnerability. The cost of survival escalated with each success. The more she accomplished for the crown, the more she was expected to give. Every triumph in securing the dynasty increased the personal toll: her health, her autonomy, her voice, her very identity. Elizabeth learned that in this life, victory was measured not by joy, but by endurance. Each successful birth only raised the stakes for the next. Success only raised the cost of survival. Her womb was both weapon and shield, a quiet battlefield where life and death, dynasty and desire, intersected. And in that battlefield, she remained unshakable, deliberate, and invisible, the steady force holding the crown together while the kingdom exhaled, unaware of the price she paid. Even at the height of her endurance, the demands did not relent. Elizabeth of York had given everything: her bloodline, her silence, her very life, all in service of a fragile peace. And yet, the crown, and the expectations of those who shaped it, demanded more. She became pregnant again. There was no room to refuse. No permission to rest. No consideration for the exhaustion that had settled into her bones, for the strain on her body, for the countless times she had risked death in service of dynasty. Every child was a promise, every pregnancy a contract she had not signed but could not escape. The court waited, the king waited, the kingdom waited, oblivious to her suffering. Childbirth was brutal. Every contraction a reminder of her mortality, every moment a delicate balance between life and death. And when the baby came, it was not without consequence. Complications emerged: the fever, the infection, the unrelenting pain, threatening to claim the life of the woman who had given England its future. In those final hours, Elizabeth's body became the quiet battleground for peace itself. She endured not because she had a choice, but because the very stability of England required her to. Peace demanded more, even when there was nothing left to give. And in that sacrifice, Elizabeth of York became more than queen, more than mother. She became the unseen architect of a dynasty, the silent force that secured a kingdom while giving all she had, and all she would ever have. Elizabeth of York did not die with fanfare. There was no scandal, no uprising, no last speech that would echo through the ages. She did not collapse on a battlefield surrounded by witnesses, nor did she deliver a final decree that would immortalize her name. She died quietly. The chamber was still. The attendants moved efficiently, performing the rituals required by protocol. Her passing was recorded, noted, acknowledged, and then life continued. The court returned to its routines. The kingdom, already accustomed to shifting power, barely paused. Contrast this with the war queens, the women who had seized armies, claimed thrones, defied expectations. Their deaths roared through history, immortalized in chronicles, songs, and legend. Elizabeth had achieved something far subtler, far more profound. She had built a dynasty, secured peace, and shaped a kingdom, all without drawing attention to herself. And yet, history did not remember her the way it remembered the loud, the dramatic, the violent. History remembers noise. It forgets restraint. Elizabeth of York's story, like her life, is a quiet triumph, one that required survival, patience, and sacrifice beyond what most could imagine. And though her voice fades from most records, The legacy she left endures in the very crown she helped secure. Elizabeth of York could not have foreseen the man her son would become. Henry Tudor, Henry VIII, grew up in the shadow of the peace his mother had painstakingly secured. From his earliest years, he was taught to fear instability, to dread the chaos that had once consumed the kingdom. Every lesson whispered about loyalty, every warning about rebellion, was shaped by the world she had stabilized through patience and silence. But Henry rejected restraint. Where Elizabeth had moved quietly, wielding power through invisibility, he wielded it loudly. He struck, he commanded, he reshaped his court and kingdom with force. He demanded heirs, succession, obedience, and did not hesitate to eliminate obstacles in his path. Every measured silence his mother had practiced was replaced by proclamations, declarations, and public displays of dominance. The irony is sharp. The very world Elizabeth had saved through careful silence became a stage for her son's noisy rule. The dynasty she had protected depended on heirs, yet the man who inherited it treated legacy as something to assert aggressively, not to protect quietly. He ruled loudly in a world his mother had saved by being quiet. Her strategy, her restraint, her sacrifice, all of it enabled his reign. And yet, she never saw how differently he would wield the power she had secured. Her legacy was both complete and invisible. It endured quietly, even as the world around it erupted with noise. Elizabeth of York's story is not one of failure. She ended a civil war that had drained England for decades. She stabilized a kingdom teetering on the edge of chaos. She gave birth to a dynasty that would endure for generations. She did everything right. And yet, in doing so, she vanished. Not from history entirely, but from the kind of memory that celebrates power with noise, spectacle, or violence. Her victories were silent. Her influence was invisible. Her triumphs were embedded in the lives and security of others, not in proclamations or monuments. She was both architect and casualty of her own success. She secured the future by surrendering her presence, by shrinking herself to the role that England demanded. The court, the kingdom, and even her own son would rise because of her, but she would never occupy the stage of recognition. Elizabeth of York didn't lose power. She gave it away, so England wouldn't bleed again. And in that quiet sacrifice lies the true measure of her greatness.